This is your year to ring in the deals and ring in the keys to your brand new ride during our Ring in the Savings event at Capital Ford. Like a new 2025 Ford F-250 Super Duty with 0% APR for 60 months. Or a new 2025 Ford Bronco Sport. Just $495 a month lease for 36 months with no money down. This is your year, so drive into 2026 the right way during our Ring in the Savings event at Capital Ford in Santa Fe.
Hey everybody, welcome in to another live episode, but this time it's not hosted just by the Pit Press, but we're also joined by Mike Cooper of the Scarlet Standard and Brendan Williams of Go Lopes Radio. Welcome in, guys. We got a special show for you tonight, kind of focus on Mountain West Hoops Roundtable, but with a little bit of Vegas flair. So, Brendan, this was kind of your idea to jump off the start, so I'm going to hand it over to you, man. Let's jump into it. You're already in Vegas enjoying a nice adult beverage. Nick
that
and
is
I will
true.
join you in a couple days. So what's up, guys? How's everyone feeling?
Hey guys, excited to be out here. Listen, I had a really good vision with this bracket behind me. The Planet Hollywood walls were not quite working with me on what we brought out here, but we kind of made it work. I'll fill this out as we go throughout the week, but guys, excited to be here. You know, we wait all year, I think, for this, and we've seen so much chaos in other places. So, and we know the Mountain West always has a few tricks up their sleeve. So this is going to be a really special week. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot. I do like the bracket in the background. It does look good. I will say that.
Yeah, guys, I wanted to really quick ask you, though, I would love to do a temp check because, Mike, you're in a weird spot where your UNLV Rebels haven't won a game here. So I want to just temp check where you're at. And then Eric and Nick, I've read some of your guys' stuff since the game at Utah State on Saturday. And it's kind of one of those, like, are you frustrated? But man, you kind of were in the, toughest place to play in the league. I'm curious, both of you guys, just temp checking where you're at with your teams. Some awards came out, but just where you guys are at right now.
Nick, you want to take that?
I'll let Mike go first and then I'll go.
What do you call it? I think, I kind of mentioned a little bit last night, but I feel like UNLV's in a weird spot. You had Dre not win Player of the Year. Arguably, he deserved it. And then you had him maybe trolling a little bit about not getting it on social media. So is he going to be, is the mindset going to be right? Going in, is he going to press too hard? Is it going to be look like how he was at the beginning of the season? Because he didn't really get off to the best start with UNLV. He really picked it up, obviously, the last 12, 13 games. He ended up averaging 23 points a game in conference play, winning Mountain West Player of the Week 3 times. I mean, I was a big advocate for, obviously I didn't have a vote, but for him winning Player of the Year. I felt if Utah State had a player that won it, I felt they should have went to MJ Collins. Falslev is good. He's kind of their glue piece, but I think if you took Falslev off that team still probably does well. If you took Dre off of UNLV, UNLV's probably down there with Air Force and San Jose State, especially with all their injury problems. They had their press conference today. A lot of it was talked about, Pastner still beating the horse of this team was new all season. They've had their ups and downs. They're not the same team that they were in January, which, they aren't. They're playing arguably their best basketball, down the stretch here. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they can get through that first round game. If they had any other matchup, I wouldn't be as worried as I am. But Wyoming is not a very good matchup for UNLV. I think the line, honestly, is a little high at 3.5. So I think I would feel more comfortable if they were playing Utah State than I do feel if they're playing Wyoming right
So
Nick, you want to jump in first on UNM?
Yeah, for sure. Brennan, in response to the question, man, this is how I feel right here about UNM men's basketball. This footage is courtesy of Jeff Grammer in the
I saw
Albuquerque
this. This is
Journal. It's
good.
off now. Yeah, I mean, this is an interview that Eric Olin did with Jeff Grammer after the Utah State game. And yeah, man, look, UNM's not trending up going into this Mountain West Conference tournament. I don't think anybody would dispute that. They've lost 5 of their last 9. And for them, it's on the defensive end of the floor, man. I'm kind of baffled, to be honest with you. They gave up 86 to Utah State at home, 94 to Utah State on the road, 82 to Colorado State at home, and 91 to Boise State at home. So they've just kind of fallen apart defensively, man, for a lot of different reasons. Eric Olin had his press conference on Monday previewing the Mountain West Conference tournament, and he talked about how this team needs to rediscover its defensive identity. Personnel-wise, they are who they are, and their scheme is it is what it is. Defensively, they switch ball screens, and they play drop coverage in the pick and roll, and that leads to a lot of players, a lot of crafty guards like Dylan Andrews, just getting downhill, getting into the paint. UNM has to over-collapse and help into the paint, and that leaves all these wide-open three-point shooters that we've been seeing. Utah State puts in 10 three-point shots in Logan, Utah on Saturday. Lobos gave up, I think, 13 three-pointers to Colorado State, 15 to Boise State when they gave up 91. So just a lot of breakdowns defensively, man, is kind of how I feel about the Lobos right now. They got to figure that out on the defensive side of the ball. They got some players in their rotation that aren't giving them anything. Antonio Chol has been beat up by the Lobo fan base, and I've been trying to defend him, but I'm kind of out of excuses for him at this point. So for me, Brendan, the temperature check, man, is this Lobo team needs to figure something out defensively, because they're either going to get Boise State or San Jose State. And the second time they played San Jose State put up 80 points, and Kobe Garland tore them up. So my temperature check, Lobos got to figure something out on the defensive side of the ball.
Man, Eric, anything to add to that? Or I can talk a little bit of Lopes, unless Eric, go for it. Give us a little more Lobo talk.
No, I don't want to really belabor the point, but Nick was pretty much spot on. I think over the last couple of games, they've lost 3 of the last 4. We've seen a lot of defensive breakdowns, and really it kind of comes down to depth, right? And they're going up against a much bigger, more physical Boise State, which I think is going to come out and beat San Jose State. So UNM's 0-2 against Boise State this year. And Nick did mention that in that the game at the Pit, Boise State ended up setting a record for most 3-pointers made by an opponent with 15. And a lot of that had to do with just overprotecting the paint, guys collapsing but not being able to recover to the 3-point line. And you just can't do that against those good 3-point shooting teams. And right, I mean, let's face it, Boise State is one of the hottest teams right now, and it starts on the defensive end. Coach Rice has those guys playing well. Kind of a newfound point guard in Dylan Andrews. He's kind of turned it on as of late and kind of found his shot. So he tore them up that last time that they played, and
that was his get on track game, because I think at that point he'd recently played the Lopes, and it was pretty bad. I mean, he was like passing up open like little 5-foot floaters. He was so scared. And I was shocked when what did he have against you guys that game? Was it 28, 30, something like that?
It was close to 30.
It was over 30
exact number.
It was over 30 points. I can look it up, but yeah, man, he torched us bad.
And so,
kind of mentioned last night, like Andrews is a great player. Obviously, he started at UCLA, and got a lot of playing time for Cronin last year. But his problem is when he's not locked in on the defensive side of the ball, it affects his offense, and his confidence just shoots downhill. When he has those games like he does, like against New Mexico, he had a really good game against UNLV in Boise the second time, and you could just tell. I think maybe the Boise game or the UNLV game was kind of the trend up. He had the Grand Canyon right after that. Then he had the New Mexico game where he just got right back into his rhythm. I think with him going, that got Felder going too.
Yeah, that game at the Pit, Felder goes, he makes 5 threes, right? For what is he, a 6'9", 7-foot center, and that's where the Lobos have struggled, is just kind of everyone crashing and leaving shooters wide open. But I'm not completely pessimistic here. I think the Lobos still got some cooking to do. I think Jake Hall is having a really stellar season. Obviously, you have Bouillon. It's just who are the other guys that are going to step up and play. Antonio Chol is one guy that we've been really critical on the last 3 out of 4 games. He's had 0 points, barely etched his name into the scorebook, and not doing much on the defensive end or even on the glass. So it's really, where are they going to get scoring from the other guys not named Jake Hall, Bouillon? I think Uriah Tenet has stepped up as of late, but it's like, how much can you actually rely on true freshmen to get the scoring done? So, but as you know, the Mountain West tournament is a complete hard reset. Everything is kind of out the door. Everyone's going to be locked in. So, Brendan, why don't you give us kind of maybe your feel of where the Lopes might be kind of coming into this tournament?
Yeah, it's funny with this GCU team because I went back and I listened to kind of some of my preseason stuff with them, and they kind of ended right where I thought they would. And everything I kind of thought they would do, they did, but they did it in a more extreme fashion, really in Mountain West style, right? It's like they go into San Diego State on a Tuesday and beat them up in Viejas, and then they come back home and Wyoming controls the game the whole time in their own house, and Wyoming beats them. And so, yeah, I think they took a strange path, but they kind of got to where I thought they would. They're really good, elite defensively. They finish as the best defense in the conference, and offensively, it's just been touch and go. So, it's you try to project this stuff out. It's really hard. You guys talk about the hard reset because you can see it going one way, and then you look at it the other way, and you're like, man, this could go really bad. So I think that's what's really special about this tournament. This GCU team's really good. They're confident. They have experience, winning conference tournaments, a lot different than this. But they're coming in with a bunch of guys, Nana Wusunane, Brian Moore Jr., these seniors who, really want to get this done. So they're amped, they're ready, they're going to be focused. And, we're going to get a good idea. I always say, like, you're going to get a little bit of an idea a few minutes into these games, kind of where everybody's at. And yeah, they're 40 minutes long, but this Mountain West Conference tournament, I said this preseason, you're one bad 5-minute stretch and your season's probably over. Like, that's about the most you can afford is a 4 or 5 bad minute stretch. Otherwise, like, the teams are too good. You pretty much lose and you go home. So, you can't afford to not come out ready to go. And I think we'll get an idea of that on Thursday, who we think is going to be, GCU in Nevada. Thank you for the comment. I know we're losing my bracket right behind my head here, but we'll get that dialed for later shows in the week. But guys, should we get into some categories? Because I'm curious. We've heard all these different takes this week. I feel like every game's been broken down. We've seen every angle. We've seen zags on zags. I feel like, and so I feel like we just thought we'd do some kind of wild Vegas themed categories, just to get some conversation started about this tournament. Guys, why don't we go with the made men category? There's been a lot of chatter recently over the past few days. Maybe the potential way that the Mountain West regular season conference title was covered or celebrated, or maybe not celebrated. So this, I feel like, category maybe fits of the made men category. We know the Mafia has a ton of pull out here in Vegas. And so we're going to go with, who do you think of the Mountain West loyalists? We're not alleging anything, anything going on nefarious in the conference or the commissioner's office. But of the loyalists, who do you think has the best chance to win it if the call were to be made? Which team do you like who's staying loyal to the Mountain West? If you had to just pick one.
We
had Eric muted.
I was going to say, let's pass it over to Mike first and put you on the spot, man.
Do you want my homer pick or you want my honest pick?
Whoever you think is the best loyalist. Like, who do you think is going to get it done?
If I'm using my basketball knowledge and what I think will happen, I believe if of the loyalists, it's probably New Mexico that's going to run through and lock up that bid and win the tournament. But my heart, I want Dre Gibbs Lawhorn to go on a heater and score 35 points a night and get UNLV back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2013. That's what I want to happen. But knowing the history, knowing what that team is made of, I think they can win a game. I don't know if they can beat Utah State for a third time. So I'm going to go with New Mexico. If I had to pick a second, it's probably Grand Canyon.
Mexico's a popular pick. Nick, do you want to go next? And
Sure,
we'll
man,
give
I
it back
will.
to-
I'll go out on a limb and say that I think Nevada. Nevada, I like the side of the bracket that they're on. Brennan, no disrespect to your Lopes. That was a close game in Reno when they played. But, I like the size of Nevada with Joel Armatrading coming back. You got probably arguably the head coach with the most Division I coaching experience who knows how to play in these tournaments. More so than any other coach in the Mountain West Conference. I think Camper's a guy that can go get you a bucket in a 3-game tournament in 3 days. And they got some other dynamic guards like Tayshaun Comer. And I really like Elijah Price. His motor is probably as good as anybody's in the Mountain West Conference. So I'll go out on a limb, say that the Nevada Wolfpack, because they have the side of the bracket that I, personally, I think for me, given that UNM doesn't match up that well with Boise State, I would pick Nevada as the Mountain West loyalist who has the best chance to win the conference tournament.
Brendan.
Yeah, I'm going to go with New Mexico. I know a lot of people have been talking New Mexico. The thing that I love about the Lobos, and yes, obviously the defensive struggles are there. Who's going to add in the offense? That New Mexico Utah State game was, man, that was really tough. Just to see, can anybody just give us anything outside of J. Call, right? To just barely push you over the finish line. You couldn't get it. But the thing I love about New Mexico is they know who they are. I love, I voted for Olin Coach of the Year. I love, the way he carries himself, how calm he is in these games. Sure, that can be frustrating when you're giving up a ton of points and it's like, are we going to change something? I get that. But I love his mindset. I love that they know where they can go to Jake Hall and get a bucket. That's worked time and time again. That Bouillon game the other day where he had 24 and 18. Can you get one of those games if they've got to win 3? And then can you ride Jake Hall the other 2? To me, it kind of almost seems like, it kind of weirdly adds up for them. And you get that one guy who goes crazy, whether it's Chol, Hopt, whoever making threes. So I actually think it's New Mexico for me. I really think the Lobos, from a loyalist standpoint, I've got GCU for another pick later, but I do like them as a potential loyalist to get this done. If you really want to get down the conspiracy lane, obviously UNLV is allegedly the darling of the league, but New Mexico seems to be right there as well. They're a big football name coming up, a lot of excitement there. So, maybe some favors are being done in their favor there, but I would go New Mexico.
And New Mexico has been a popular pick. Dan Dickow from CBS Sports went on the Mountain West podcast yesterday with Tom Moser and Jeff Grammer, and he also went with New Mexico. And I'm a homer. I'm a New Mexico fan. I would love to see them do it. I think that they're probably built to do that. But if I have to make a pick, I'm going to go with the team that probably has the highest ceiling. And then if you really want to focus on defense, I think San Diego State is going to be my pick. I just feel like they have all the pieces. They're experienced. They're top heavy in terms of having star power guys that can come off the bench. They were at one point top 15 in the country in overall bench scoring. They just got guys that can get it done. And I know that lack of concentration was talked about a lot. I know that the guy from San Diego State on last night's podcast was bringing that up too, just the lack of focus and effort, things like that. But I think that team is not only built to kind of run through this tournament bracket, but also maybe make some noise into the big dance if they do get that far. But yeah, that's going to be my pick. I'll go with San Diego State.
Eric, we will let it roll. I think Nick's about to correct you here. They are leaving. They are a defector. So they are not literally, but figuratively dead to the Mountain West and the Loyalists. So they do not count. But so you have to give us a pick of who's staying.
Misunderstood.
I know. You love your Aztec. You love your Aztecs.
Let's go. I'll just stay with the homer pick then. Let's go with UNM.
I love it. Okay, guys, we don't need anyone to get caught in any more crossfire here, talking loyalists or conspiracies or anything with the league. So we will move on. Eric, let's go to our next category. The old Tigers love pepper, they hate cinnamon category, the iconic quote from The Hangover. And to me, this is, you're thinking of why is Mike Tyson in this movie? What is going on? They're in a hotel room. There's a tiger. It's just super chaotic. Think of bull in a china shop or a tiger in a hotel room. Who is the team to you guys that can come in and absolutely turn this conference tournament on its head and just kind of nobody's going to see it coming? Who is that team for you?
I'm just going to go first, and I'll just flip my answer. Maybe it is going to be San Diego State. Maybe the Tiger loves pepper. I'm going to stick there.
Yeah, man. Man, it's kind of hard, because Brennan, man, this league is so balanced, man. I mean, the mid-level teams 4 or 5 through 9 are playing better than 1 through 4 for the most part. So, man, it's kind of like a crapshoot. You could really pick anybody. If I had to pick, I'd probably go with UNLV, honestly. I know that's kind of a trendy pick. Mike knows UNLV better than any of us here on this podcast. But, man, just kind of listening to Dan Dickow yesterday, I agree with a lot of what he said about UNLV. They got a dynamic guard in Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn who can score pretty much any time down the floor. And their size and athleticism, since they got away from playing Emmanuel Stephan, I think it's allowed them to kind of run the floor a little bit more. Tyron Jones is a freak athlete. And just what they've been able to do to Utah State, I mean, they kind of own them, to be honest. Went to Logan, Utah, and this is when UNLV wasn't even playing that good during that part of the season. Then they go to Logan, Utah, and win it. I just think that is the most explosive team that's left, and I'd probably roll with the Running Rebels, man.
Mike,
I have an outlier pick. I think Fresno. The 10 beat the 7, and if they can get semi-ish healthy, if Zayon Collins can keep them healthy, they were playing pretty good basketball until Zayon got hurt.
True.
If I want to go outside the box and not take the trend and take UNLV, hey, Fresno can. Colorado State, they went on their run of winning what was 6 or 7 in a row. They lost to Boise. Maybe the wheels have fallen off. I don't know. But, Fresno could steal one. And then, when a 10, as we see around the country, when a 10 seed or lower wins a game, anything can happen. I will say, I'll piggyback on what Nick said about UNLV. The best thing I think he did, Pastner did, was realize that Stephan was just not playable. Unfortunately, he wasn't giving them anything. And when he went small ball lineup with basically playing Tyron Jones at the 5 and having a Walter Brown, he is a shooting threat on the floor. He may not be consistent, but he is a threat. That opened the floor to get Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn going. And when they were able, I kind of mentioned this last night, they started running the offense through Howie Fleming instead of running it through Stephan and Bernard. And when they started running offense through Fleming, that got Dre off the ball. When that got Dre off the ball, he's able to come off more screens, get open, and be able to get, space the floor. And they've been hitting a lot of dive action too. If you've noticed, when they have Dre go through off those ball screens, they have Kamani or Tyron slipping in the back door cuts, and they're getting easy layups and dunks, which I think, if you were to have an X factor for UNLV, it's Kamani Hamilton. Everyone talks about Dre and Tyron, but people don't realize Kamani Hamilton's fouled out 12 times this year in 31 games. He leads the nation in fouling out. When he's been on the floor, one of the best players in the conference. Mm-hmm. He was shooting close to 50% from 3 in conference play. I think if they're going to make a run and cause chaos, they're going to need him to stay on the floor. They can. It showed too. I mean, they need Dre to get his 20-25, but they don't need Dre taking 30 shots. He was getting, when he's played Utah State, he didn't play. He only I think he had 10. But like when they played San Diego State, he had 30 points. He had 32 points on 15 shots. When they get the balanced scoring, they can beat anybody. But I really want Fresno to cause chaos. I really do. I think it'd be great. If you want the most chaotic, I want Air Force to win a game.
You might be the only person picking that, Mike. I don't know anybody who's thinking. I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I agree. I think they were playing well at a certain point in the season. Depth issues, obviously, a big concern for them. Man, Hybreeder's like another crapshoot. It's like you never know how that dude's going to shoot. Oh. He's gonna hoist up like 23s a game. But I like it, man. I like it. I haven't heard that yet, and you never know.
Who's the I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they have a really good freshman guard too.
Gorey.
Yeah, Gorey.
So, I watched them this Saturday because the Lopes hosted them, and they came out for the first, like, I would say 7 or 8 minutes, and I think they had a lead. 7 or 8 minutes in against the Lopes is like, we're not doing this again. Like, not on the final Saturday, GCU. And after that, guys, because Fresno was my pick. Literally, when I made this category, I thought I'm going Fresno because I like Hyde Breeder, and I just think they've got different options. The big's really good, that French big. And I can tell you this, having talked with some people, again, not wanting to overshare here, but he is very well regarded as well, and like within the league. He's really impressive. He's big. He's 7-footer. They run a lot of stuff through him. My only thing, guys, is they were completely checked out after that first like 6 or 7 minutes against GCU, and it was weird. They just wanted to be home, and maybe it's just the end of the season. They need to get healthy. Collins obviously is a massive help. I believe that when they're healthy and engaged, they're actually a pretty good team, and they could actually really do some things. Mike, I do love that pick. That would have been my pick if I didn't see them essentially check out of the game on Saturday. But I would go, honestly, and I hate to do this, Mike, because it's UNLV's the trendy pick, but Wyoming is kind of wild too. Like, they play a ton of guards. They've got a bunch of guys who, it's one of those things, Mike, where I think you guys might be winning by 10, 15, 20, or Wyoming's going to go bonkers. Like, they're pretty hot and cold. You saw what they did against Nevada, that final game of the year. They had kind of everything rolling there. When their guards are going, I saw what they did against GCU. They controlled that whole game. And they got a bunch of like different options at guard. Nick, you're talking about Nevada, and they have a bunch of options at guard. It's sometimes there are a lot of guys that shoot high 30%, and that's kind of what Wyoming's got. But if 3 of those guys go off, it's like, now you're in for a game. So Wyoming is an interesting pick for me. I don't think I'd take them straight up against UNLV, but if you ask me to pick a team that could cause some chaos, I'd probably pick Wyoming.
That's a good pick. Wyoming, oddly enough, they're like 3rd or 4th in the conference in rebounding too, for having or playing as many guards as they have. They actually rebound the ball well, so they kind of fit that chaos agent that you were talking about. And then I just wanted to chime in too on Mike's pick, or just with the whole Kamani Hamilton thing. I think what you're describing is spot on with him. When he's on the floor and he's effective and not picking up a dumb foul, the games against Utah State and that one at UNLV, he played really well. He knocked down threes. I was critical about some of his shot selection, but just his length and his athleticism and being able to rebound the ball, he's a tough matchup, man. And he was a difference maker in that game. And if those guys stay on the floor and they're playing well, Draw is filling it up. But you can count on guys like Brown, like you were talking about. He's kind of one of those connector pieces that Eric Olin talks about, one of those glue guy key pieces that's kind of a distributor, but he helps spread the floor, but he can also be an offensive threat. I kind of like that trendy UNLV pick.
Any other thoughts, guys, or should we go to the next category? Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, with going off your Wyoming pick, people don't realize they're coming into this tournament winning 5 of their last 6 games. They are one of the hotter teams in the conference too. So if they get through UNLV, they could, like you said, they can cause some chaos. They're a better statistical team than what they may have showed early. But Sundance has figured something out there.
Yeah, and he's great for a quote. So the longer we can keep Wyoming around as well. I mean, it's tough because Sundance and Passner, they're both great. Like, we need to keep them around for as long as we can this week. Just they are such good interviews. So guys, all great stuff. I know I saw someone said CSU. That is the trendy pick for sure. The amount of threes they can hit and how quick they can fill it up, how they're shooting it right now is definitely a great answer as well. But guys, let's go to our next category, the just walk away from the table category. Now, we've all been there. Some more often than others. We maybe all have that friend who you're at the table, the blackjack dealer's kicking your butt. You should have walked away, but you keep putting money in. I'm going to get that back. I'm going to get that back. Who's the team that you should have just said, that's it, I'm done. I'm out on this team and I should have been out. I'm done believing in them. Who is that team for you guys that you're just done? You're cutting bait with and you're not taking them serious this week?
Nick, do you look like you want to?
Nick wants to answer with the Lobos defense.
Well, as a homer, because I pay more attention to UNM than any other team in this conference, I would say that. But God, I feel like the obvious answer to that category, Brennan, has to be San Diego State, right? I mean, God,
that's where I'm at.
If anybody else says anything other than San Diego State, I'm like, seriously, that nothing fits this category more than San Diego State. What a huge disappointment, man. I have no idea what's going on. Or maybe I do know what's going on in that locker room. I just don't think they're connected at all. There's no leadership. And I heard Fiend on your guys' joint podcast last night say that, it's a player-led team, and the leaders on the team, Miles Bird, Reese Dixon Waters, I don't know what those guys are doing. They just wasted a season. So short answer, SDSU, Brennan.
Mike, you
Anything else?
Or Brennan?
I'll go for it because I'm SDSU as well, without a doubt. Like going back, I listened to my podcast and I did one where I was right, where I was wrong. I spent so much time on San Diego State. I'm so mad at myself. Hard to like go back and not think like, oh yeah, Guath, he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He'll make some threes. He's going to have average 3 blocks a game. He could lead the country in blocks. Those were some of the things I was saying. And he just looks so bad. And maybe it's the injuries. I don't want to be too harsh on him, but he is kind of he's kind of like encapsulation of their season, just disinterested, not physical. Now, credit to Bird, who always plays hard. I know Fiend was talking about that on the podcast as well. And I agree. I voted him Defensive Player of the Year because the offense has been bad. He takes some bad shots, but he does stay engaged on that end. But I agree, Nick, like watching them just, it's a lot of just bad shots and ISO and Reese Dixon Waters, who's a nice player. He's taking mid-range jumpers, and BJ Davis kind of doing crazy stuff. I think I'm just cutting bait with them. And I don't think that's, I'm going to say that and they'll probably, go 3-3 here. But it's not a fun watch. And I watched it in person in San Diego State and I did not necessarily enjoy it. So, San Diego State's my team. I'm just done with them this year. I don't think they can win it.
I have just for fan purpose, I want Utah State. Just because the way that they act on social media is just insane. Like if the one team they're a good basketball team. It has nothing to do with their product on the court, but from a fan base purpose, I'm sick. I'm done with Utah State this year. But from a basketball purpose, I think I'll probably hop on the same trend. I would say it's San Diego State for me as well. Both times I watched them, I was at the game in person. I didn't go to San Diego, but they're not enjoyable to watch. I think, like you guys have hit on, this is one of Dutcher's worst teams that he's had. And granted, now that we all say it, they'll probably win 3 games in 3 days and win the Mountain West tournament like they usually do, and probably win a game or 2 in the NCAA tournament. But I think I want to see somebody different. I want to see whether it's a Loyalist in Reno or UNLV or New Mexico or Grand Canyon. I want to see somebody different win it. Maybe even Boise State. Maybe, when Boise becomes the first team in 4 days to win the tournament. Win 4 games in 4 days and win the tournament. I just want to see something different. I think it's time for the conference to have a breath of fresh air. That's just me, though.
Sure.
Eric, anything to add there? Who's your pick?
Yeah, no, well, to be fair, this kind of fits just with I've been high on Nevada all year. And I think it's kind of just me being a little more privy to Alfred and Noodles and just the defensive effort and staying locked in. And we've seen them firsthand play at the Pit. They've played, they beat UNM once at Nevada, played a really tight game here at the Pit. And then they turn around and lose to Wyoming in an important game when seeding implications are on the ride. They were kind of in the mix there to receive like one of those top 4 bye picks in terms of the Mountain West seeding, and they just didn't deliver. And it's kind of one of those things where I feel like the Nevada fans are still in on Alfred, but at the same time, that seat continues to get a little bit hotter. It's just they haven't really delivered. So I've been holding on to maybe a little bit of that hope that they would just be one of those teams. I've thought they might be the dark horse in the Mountain West all season, and they just never seem to capitalize on it. And then they turn around and lose to Wyoming when a lot was on the line for them. So I think that's going to be my pick.
Yeah, it's a really good one. The offense gets pretty stale. It's another team where they're on and it's like, whew, we got to watch this. Just, it's a rock fight almost every game. So it's a tough watch. So I agree with the Nevada. Guys, let's go to our next category, the Four Horsemen. Now You See Me, great movie. Number 2 came out, and I believe number 3 is maybe even in the works. But who is most likely to just straight up no show this week? Like lose one game and out, play really bad, and maybe have their fans get really mad. Who in your opinion, and we're looking for a good team here, who is most likely to do that?
I'll go first.
Go ahead, Mike.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Boise State, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised. Nick kind of hit it. Nick Urias from San Jose. He hit a good point last night. They have a guard like Kobe Garland who can win a game. They could steal one if they could just get some extra bodies, keep it close. Boise fans and BJ hasn't been very happy with Boise State either this year. It's been kind of a disappointment. I wouldn't be surprised if they're one and done in the tournament.
I'm going to have to go with Utah State. I think everyone is just Utah State is a popular pick. They're outright champions, and everyone's been so high on them because they've had the highest net in the Mountain West, and they've kind of been everyone's sweetheart from a national perspective. But they don't match up well with UNLV, and I'm looking forward to that game for them to play again. So that's going to be my pick because I don't think that they're as invincible as a lot of people talk about. There's the way they kind of carry themselves on social media that kind of feel like they're a little bit better than everyone else, but they're not invincible. And UNM, that was a big game for UNM, and I thought they played well. They kind of missed a few different possessions in that game. I think UNM could have knocked them off at Utah State. I feel like they might be kind of primed to knock off in the tournament, and I wouldn't really like to see anything else.
Yeah, man, I'm Brennan. I'm going to go with San Diego State, kind of for the same reasons that I've already described as them being the biggest disappointment. Another team that's not trending up going into the Mountain West Conference tournament. I know they did beat UNLV by 3 at home, but man, I just don't know if this team wants to be there anymore. Maybe they figure it out, right? I say that, and like Mike said, they're probably going to co-win the Mountain West Conference tournament now. But
we've already all been clipped from San Diego State people. They've already clipped all this, so we're done. Just call it out.
Yeah, fair, man. Yeah, for me, it's the Aztecs, man. I think they could be one and done in the quarterfinals.
I wouldn't want to play Colorado State if I was San Diego State. Seems like it's just a bad matchup for anybody right now.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm gonna kind of one up you there, and I'm going with potentially again your Fresno State Bulldogs, Mike, against Colorado State with the potential no show. The shooting is hit and miss with Colorado State. We've seen it. They've had these long stretches. They really, and Steve Ivey, friends of everybody's program here, we know he's been harsh and been honest about the defense, or essentially, not really the defense they play. The bigs are suspect, and they rely a lot on the threes. I like what they bring. It's a lot of balance from them, so they don't have a capital G guy. I had Muniz on my third team. Was glad to see him make it just with all the stuff he does. But you look at them and you're like, Rex Steiner's nice, but I think there's a chance where, listen, they don't make a few threes early on. They're not defending. I think their floor is pretty low. So I would actually go Colorado State. And I know you're saying, we got to pick good teams here, but they're a trendy pick coming in, and they're, 6 or 7 they've won or something like that. So I think they do fit the bill here. And I think everyone would be kind of shocked if they lost and went home. But I just think the reliance on the three, it's really great. You can beat anybody, including, the 1 or 2 seed, whoever you end up facing. But you can also lose to anybody, I think, if you rely on that. So I'm going with Colorado State here. Okay, guys, we got 2 more categories, and then we can close it out with some chatter. But I had this as the 16 screw it hit me category. You've got 16, dealer's got 20. You're already down money. Take my money if you want it. I'll take a card. I want to see it. So give us your best bold take. Who are you all in on? And just forget the odds, everything else. Bold take. Who is your Mountain West tournament winner?
Nobody
Anyone
wants to
jump in
answer
on
this
that?
question.
I know everyone's running from this one.
Oh man, well, we could go with the comment here, and I bet you like this one, Brennan. I mean,
There we go.
Nicholas, I'm going to butcher that name, but the commenter here says GCU could win it. Yeah, I think they could win it. Look, I'll go first, man. I hope this doesn't jinx my Lobos, but I think UNM can win this thing. Just based on what I saw at the press conference on Monday, and this is no different than what I've seen from this team all year, but I do think they're locked in. I think Coach Olin is going to figure things out defensively. We got to beat Boise State, but you got to remember one thing that Coach Olin said, like the circumstances for which when Boise beat UNM at the beginning of the season, it's different in the Mountain West Conference tournament, man. And they got to play against San Jose State like less than 24 hours before this game, or around 24 hours before this game will play. So they're not going to be fresh. You're playing in a different gym. You already played in the Thomas and Mack one time this year, but yeah, man, I don't know if Boise State shoots that well against UNM like they did in the pit. I think Coach Olin will figure some things out, simplify it defensively, and I'm going to pick the Lobos, man. Mountain West Conference tournament champions.
Love it.
I like that one comment that just came in. Air Force wins 4 games in 4 days.
That's called bold.
That's a bold one. I
We
like
need
that
to get
one.
them a mic. I love that.
Yeah.
I want to hear that man's opinion or that person's opinion on that one.
Yeah.
That would be crazy because they went over in conference play, didn't they? They all of a sudden won 4 games in 4 days. That would be
a movie. They would be making a movie about that, I think.
If I had to go with a bold take, I think Colorado. I mean, we talked about the 3-point shooting and how that can be, and I picked Fresno as a potential upset. I don't know. I really don't want to go with the UNLV pick. So I'm trying to avoid that because I know this is not going to happen. If I went with a lower seed, it's probably going to be Colorado State. With their 3-point shooting, like we've all mentioned, they can get on a heater and go win 4 games in 4 days. And I think that, if how Brennan said, if Fresno just quits, they may be able to rest a bunch of their guys and go into that San Diego State game pretty well rested. And you know how it goes with those teams that get buys. Some of them come out ready to go. Some of them are going to come out flat, and it's how they respond. And Colorado State comes out guns a-blazing and hits everything against Fresno. I would be worried about that.
They'll roll over. Yeah, they'll be happy to roll over.
Yeah, and if they can coast their way through, then that gives them a really good matchup with San Diego State, which I think is a winnable game for Colorado State. And then anything can happen if you get through that matchup.
One game. Yeah, it's a one-game winner take all. Go for it, Eric.
Yeah, no, that's tough. I was actually going to go with the CSU pick too, because I mean, just getting Jorgensen back is huge for them. They've been on a heater. I also think the game they just lost at Boise State was, I mean, it's better to lose than lose in the Mountain West tournament, right? So,
is
from an
Pasquarelli
offensive,
there?
he has been out the last couple of games, so they've been able to shoot the ball well.
And they've been
even
playing pretty
without
good
him.
without him. Yeah, it's a weird thing to talk about, but they've been playing pretty good without him.
But I mean, if they get him back, that's a huge boost too.
He wasn't really
It is.
playing that good before he got hurt, though. Like, he started the season really well, and then he cooled off like right before conference play.
Yeah.
And he did not shoot well against UNM. Like, he was trending downward, but yes, he could help them. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut anybody off.
Yeah, no, sorry.
No, you're good. Finish your thought. Finish your thought, Nick, and then Mike, you can finish your thought too.
No, that's all I had, man. I was just chiming in on Pasquarelli.
Yeah, I'm good too.
Yeah.
I just it popped in my head because we were talking about Steve Ivey, and he brought up Pasquarelli maybe coming back. So you're maybe not asking him like how you were just saying to be that go to, but if he can give you a body off the bench, that helps you too.
Yeah, it's really hard to rule out Boise State too, because they've also been on another heater, and from a defensive and size perspective, like, we know they're going to give UNM a lot of problems, right? I think everyone in this tournament is suspect for an upset, right? Like, you can't rule it out. Everyone's got to play their A game, but I mean, Boise State is also built really well. Bryce has had them playing really well as of late, and I mean, you really can't substitute the defensive ability the rebounding, and they've got a couple playmakers that are playing well too, right? With Dylan Andrews. So if Dylan Andrews continues to score the way he does, you've also got guys like Felder, who was an all Mountain West second team player. He could have easily been a first teamer in my opinion because he's been playing that well as of late. So they've got some pieces that are pretty intimidating, and if they shoot the ball well, that defense is going to hold just about anybody else. So I'm going to go with Boise State in my pick.
Okay, before we get to my pick, you brought that up, and I appreciate it. We love a little Bison Wire action there. Guys, one thing I want to talk about. The Mountain West Awards came out, saw all the ballots. It is what it is. Saw the different teams. For the future, we need to have a serious conversation regarding these teams and the first conference, like these two teams of 5 guards on the all-conference teams. It just cannot happen. I hated it. We need like serious parameters on this. Thankfully, the Mountain West, they only have 5 people per team, which is great. We've seen other conferences with 12, 15 people on these teams. It's just ridiculous. I think there should only be 5 people per team. That's it. And it's got to be a team that makes sense, because you brought up Drew Fielder. He should have been first team as the big. You could make a case for maybe Bouillon. But I can't fathom having 5 guards as on a team. You cannot have that for the awards. That's my soapbox. We're going to go to my pick, and I am going with GCU. And we know my work here. I've always said I am completely unbiased. Before the season, I picked them to win the Mountain West Conference Tournament. I talked about how this team we're going to see in November, December is not going to be the team that we see in February heading into March. I've loved the development. Caleb Shaw is coming back. Dusty Stromer's hitting some threes, which is something they've needed all season. F.A. Demerol, the big guy, has developed really well. We've talked about that, I think, on your show. Him as well as Brian Moore Jr. They've got a ton of seniors, and they finished with the I see the comment about Templin. Templin didn't start 1 game in conference play. He did start, I think, 6 games non-conference, but started 0 in conference play there. But I'm rolling with GCU, guys. And again, not a homer pick. Again, I did get to spend some time with them at media availability, which is probably swaying me, like Nick and Eric, you guys were saying. But I'm rolling with those guys. I think that's my bold prediction. I think they're ready for this. I love the matchup potentially if it gets to Utah State, with Utah State a little thinner up front. We'll get there when we get there. But that's my pick, guys. I think the Lopes are going to get this thing done.
Can we throw a small little twist in here? And it's really just kind of picking maybe 1 or 2 players. But we just talked about like the all guard Mountain West. What about an all glue guy Mountain West?
Ooh, we like that.
Kind of weigh in on that. I mean, just because I'm homer pick for UNM. I think Luke Hopt has had himself kind of a quiet all Mountain West
really
type season. Really important connector piece that Eric Olin talks about. But he had a game where he scored 30 points, a career high. But like other games, he doesn't score more than 6 or 7 points, but he's got 8 rebounds. He's got 6 assists. He just played 30, 35 minutes. So I don't know, like who other players are on the Mountain West that kind of fit that glue guy category. And Brendan,
Howie Fleming.
I was going to say Fleming might be too good, but he's a perfect fit for that. Like what did he end up averaging this year, Mike? He's probably like 9, 5, and 6 or something, maybe.
Let me pull it real quick.
But I think Fleming's a great pick. I think Muniz. I had him on my 3rd team, and I'm really happy he made 3rd team because he finished 9, 5, and 5. He actually led the conference in assists as kind of a 6'6", 6'7", like guard forward. So I think Muniz would be up there as well. I know they have a lot of balance over there, but what did Fleming average?
He finished averaging 9, 9.2, 6.3, and 3.9 assists.
Yeah.
But he had, if you look at kind of we were talking about earlier, he had 2 triple-doubles. He's had 2 triple-doubles in a 5-game span. He's kind of been the connector piece when he was missing those couple games when he was injured and he was working his way back. You could definitely miss his presence. You can even say the same a little bit about Walter Brown. Walter Brown's not going to give you 15 points a night, but he's been one of the pieces of why the Rebels defense is actually, I'm not going to say their defense is good because it's not, but why they've improved on the defensive side of the ball. over the last couple of weeks. He's been kind of one of those guys. Every team needs one. There's been a lot of games where Brown's contributed 8, 10, 12 points, 4 or 5 rebounds, and has guarded the other teams, been a better defender on the other, or been one of the better defenders for UNLV. I saw a comment too. I mean, you could talk about Tyron Jones a little bit too. He does a little bit of everything for UNLV. I like that comment.
I think another guy who's kind of popped off the screen, for a San Diego State team we've been kind of harsh on, Farrell Compton is an absolute workhorse, and he maybe doesn't get a ton of counting stats, but I don't know if you guys have watched him. He goes to war down by the basket. He is insane down there, and he does a lot of little things, and I think brings a lot of heart to that team that, at times maybe hasn't had a ton of direction. I love what he brings in kind of off the bench, just coming in and feeling like he just wants to beat everybody up. I think that he's a big part of what they do. So he could be another kind of important glue guy coming off the bench as well. I don't know, Nick, if you have any others.
One other that I would throw in there, man, just to add a guy to the all glue guy Mountain West, I would say Caden Bennett from Wyoming. And I really only saw him play once in the pit. Can't say I've watched a ton of Wyoming basketball. I've tuned into some games. But just looking at his numbers, and I remember reading about this, I mean, in their win against Nevada on March 3rd, 27 points. Like, what is that? His stat line, 10 points, 5 rebounds, almost 3 assists per game. Another all glue guy.
Yeah, right in line with that, what we were talking about with Wyoming. They just got a bunch of guys, and the hope is you're going to throw stuff at the wall, and a few of them, shoot okay or shoot 48% and make a few threes, and they all kind of do a ton of stuff. I'd throw Caleb Shaw in there as well. GCU definitely missed him when he was out. Brings some shooting, brings some toughness, can defend. We'll see. He looked pretty good on Saturday. Bryce talked about how impressed he was with how healthy he looked in his first game back, but we'll see what that looks like this week. But he's a big piece of what they do as well.
What about Carson Templin?
Yeah.
Would you consider him a glue guy?
Probably. I mean,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, in a different way, right? Like, he's not going to, light you up for assists, but he's going to get all those loose balls. He's a pest. Like, yeah, I think that fits.
Yeah, I would say he's probably more of a glue guy than I saw the comment. That's why I hesitated for a second.
Sorry, man.
I would say if people talk about false love of the all-around game that he has, but you have to have value guys like Carson Templin. He brings the energy. That's a good.
There we go.
But Carson Templin, like you said, every team needs a player like that brings energy, whether people like it or not. He's gonna be an energizer bunny off the bench for you. He's gonna get you hustle. He's gonna get you rebounds. He may flop a little bit, but he may talk his shit, and that's what happens. Like, he's gonna give you the spark that you need. It may not be scoring, but it may be because he hard fouls somebody or takes a charge or dives on the floor. And we're just to go back to that Walter Brown point, when over the last 10 games, he's had his moments where he's had, 10-7, but he's averaging 5, 4, and 2. But he, like you said, he's kind of been that missing piece when they took Stephen out. That's given them something that's better, that's been better for them, that fits more of the roster build that Pastner had. I like that question that came in. If we want to do that
most
one.
Improved. We can do most improved. It is tough because for someone improved, do we count if they relocated? Because to me, most improved would be staying with your team and getting better year over year. But I feel like there's just not that many people who you could consider for that. Or we could just consider newcomers as well.
Well, I mean, if we're doing newcomers, obvious choice is Dre. Dre went from averaging 3 points a game. Dre went from averaging 3 points a game in Illinois to 21 points a game at UNLV. But I think if you're staying with the point of most improved with their team, you got to think, Jacob Benarby for UNLV, he went from getting no minutes under Kevin Kruger. He stayed through. Pastner kept him. And all Pastner has talked about is how better he's got. You can say he's one of those glue guys too. He plays, a decent amount of minutes for UNLV now, and he's turned himself into a serviceable rotation piece. He's had his moments too. Brennan? He had 15 rebounds when they played Grand Canyon the first time, right?
Yeah, he's around and he's always doing stuff too. He's sometimes getting into foul trouble, but he's around. He makes his presence felt. I think one guy I'd throw in the ring, Nick, you've talked about him, I feel like multiple times. You might have, this might be your kind of like player crush here, but Mekhi Williams, he's definitely improved a ton year over year. Now, listen, do we want to see the shooting get better? Yes. He's at 33% from three. He was 45 at UTA 2 years ago, but he's improved a ton year over year. And if you really look at this, conference play even different than non-con, I think Mekhi Williams would be up there. He's averaging almost 14 a game. He gets Mountain West Conference third team. I voted him second team. I mean, he was really good in conference play if you just looked at those stats. So I'd have Mekhi Williams in there just also as much as they rely on their guards to get the offense rolling. So I'd throw Mekhi in there, but I don't know if you guys have anyone else.
Brennan, does it count if it's different teams, same conference?
It could be whatever. I feel like we're college sports. It's like how many seniors graduated on senior day to save their team? So I feel like the rules are broken at this point.
The only reason I ask is
do whatever.
His stats may not have improved a ton, but Jaden Henley's a completely different player.
Yeah, that's actually probably the answer now that we talk about it. Yeah,
Jaden Henley was a solid. He was relied on a little bit for number 2, went to number 1. Now he's he was basically been the number 1 at Grand Canyon. He's really, really thrived in that role. I like Braden Clark's comment too. Drake Allen's been pretty consistent.
Yeah. He's taking that. And glue guy. How did we miss that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I saw the comment about Rock too. I think that's fair within this Lobo team. He showed tremendous growth. He's developed a post-game scoring inside that he did not have at the beginning of the season. Deshaun Gorey, I know we've kind of talked about him already. I think he fits that build. He just turned it up in conference play, man. And then my submission for least improved would be Antonio Chol. Yeah, and I'd go Antonio Chol, and I don't think there's any disagreement from anybody on the podcast.
Would you say that guy's same comment, the Magoon Gwath one?
Yeah.
I mean, when did Magoon Gwath become a 3-point shooter?
Just definitely most disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Guys, should we take it to that final category? And Mike kind of spoiled my answer, which I hate that. But this is our the Jalen House Award. Now, I'm here in Vegas with some friends, which is great. And we went to the Mountain West Tournament the last 2 years. In fact, when New Mexico made their run, we knew someone who's on staff, which is great, got us tickets. We'd run after the GCU games and come over and watch those games. The championship game, we were lucky enough to sit next to Eddie House, which is always, I'm sure you guys know, incredibly entertaining. Then they give him like 3 seats, right? Because he stands up and he covers space while he's watching the game and he's getting excited. So we were in the kind of family section right there next to him. So I thought, who would you have for like the Jalen House Award? A guy who can literally win this tournament by himself. Like you can just take the teams out, you can talk scheme, whatever, throw it all out the door. Who's the one guy who single-handedly you think can win this tournament for their team? Oh, Eric, you're on mute again.
Sorry, guys. I think the easy pick would be like DGL, right, from UNLV. But I'm going to have to go with MJ Collins from Utah State. I thought he was a little bit more deserving of Player of the Year compared to Falslove, but Falslove just got a ton more publicity, and he does a lot of other things that help that Utah State squad. But just watching MJ Collins throughout the year, I mean, he's kind of the guy that makes that team go. He's the bucket getter. I think Mason Falslove is another really good player, but MJ Collins just has like a different level to his game, a different gear. And so he's, to me, I think a guy that they could basically jump on his back and he can go off for 2025 and kind of carry him to the tournament.
One thing I want to say on him is that GCU game at Utah State with 40 seconds left, GCU crawled back into it and they just crowded a pick and roll, miscommunicated, and Collins leaked out. And you could see it happening in real time. And there's not a lot of players. DGL has this as well, but Collins just got free. No one within 10 feet of him for a wide open 3. I think they were up 2 or 3. And it's like, if he makes it, the game's over. And he gets all the space. And I literally thought, before he even shoots it, I might as well just turn the TV off. It just sucked. Like, And of course, he made it. And it's just like he's a guy you just cannot leave open for a half a second. So I agree there, Eric.
Can we put the category up again? I mean, this is for guys that can go up on a heater and win the tournament. Jake Hall, I mean, he's got to be brought up. I know that's a homer pick for me. I get it. It's a homer pick. But, God, look at what he just did in Logan, Utah. And, Eric, man, we've seen him do this time and time again. The shot against GCU, no disrespect, Brendan. I mean, that was just a great shot, man.
Oh, you're not disrespecting me. I applauded him. I couldn't stop talking about him on the podcast after. So continue.
Yeah. Well, that's my pick, man. So yeah, I'd go with Jake Hall.
I have one. How about BJ Davis from San Diego State? What he just
that game was crazy. Yeah.
What he just did against UNLV, if he can continue he's one of those guys that's a spark plug that can get you anything. And he could go on one of those runs, because they don't have to play 4, they play 3. And that takes pressure off Dixon Waters. And because obviously I'm not going to go with DGL and be the homer pick. But I do like the Corey Camper pick too. Corey Camper is one of those guys that, I posted polls of player stats that were blind. A lot of them were against Mason Falslev because that was the talk of, now obviously against Player of the Year. And I did Camper, I did DGL, I did Jaden Henley, and I did MJ Collins. A lot of the Utah State fans picked out the MJ Collins versus Falslev one, but those were the polls that I put up. And what people don't realize is Camper put up very, very similar numbers to what Falslev did with more points per game. And if as much as I don't want to say it because I don't like Nevada, but if Reno wants to go on a run, it's either going to be Price or Camper that carries them. And I'm more lenient to say that it's going to be Corey Camper. But BJ Davis is probably my safer pick, I think, because I think as a team, he can get 20-25, and San Diego State's going to be in control if they can lock in on the defense side of the ball. And those teams that San Diego State's playing is a better matchup for the higher scoring pace.
Yeah, he was really good in that game. I watched that one Friday night. He was taking some shots that I couldn't believe he was taking, and he's making them. My pick, and it's not, gosh, guys, I hate doing this. I was going to go Henley, but the other guy that I've been thinking about a lot is Drew Fielder. And I know that stinks when we talk about kind of who they match up with in the tournament for you guys, Eric and Nick, but he is really good. And the thing with him is when you see these pick and pop sort of bigs, they usually are pretty, I hate using the word like soft, but these pick and pop bigs are usually soft. He's got like a real nasty side to him. And so I think when he can pick and pop and he can hit threes, that changes things where other big guys, right, they've got to really rely on like someone's got to get him the ball and they cannot get a look for, 5 or 6 minutes, right? Like we even saw Graham Ike tonight in the Gonzaga game. Like he didn't get a ton of shots early. You kind of rely on that. But with Fielder, because he can play on the perimeter, he can find a way to get shots, and he really had some good games down the stretch. He's a really impressive player. And so if I had to pick someone, I wanted to go Henley. We talked about him a little bit, but I would go Fielder. He's really good. And yeah, I mean, if that matchup comes, I guess that's maybe how we can maybe end this, Eric and Nick, but you guys talking about like, how do you guys size that one up and how do you guard Fielder? Because is Bouillon going to be the guy who's going to be coming out to 24 feet or how does that look?
Eric, if you want to go first, you can, man.
Go for it.
Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, you just think about how Fielder got a lot of those shots, and you kind of touched on this already, Brendan, but a lot of it was on pick and pop, man. And the way that UNM defends the ball, it's ball screen coverage. Like, I can pull up video clips, but I'll just explain it. What happens when a post sets a ball screen for a ball handler like Dylan Andrews, JT Rock and Tomislav Bouillon are trained to back up into the paint and protect the paint. And so that's why it leaves them vulnerable to things like pick and roll. Eric Olin at the press conference on Monday was saying, like, we're going to continue to make choices based on what we think gives us an advantage, which means, like, they're going to give the 3 to Fielder. They're going to give the 3 to Bemba, and they're going to play the odds. I mean, right now, Fielder's shooting 41%. I don't know if you play those same odds, but he talked about, like, we're not a good enough defensive team to where we can shut down everything, so we've got to pick and choose. We're giving up some threes. So, yeah, man, I mean, if it comes down to that and he's hot, but then again, he may not shoot that well. So we'll see.
I would say, and we're getting on a tangent here, but I would say you got to make Dylan Andrews beat you. Like I've seen him enough this year where he has looked kind of anemic offensively. So I would look at that and I'd say Dylan Andrews, like knock yourself out. Now, I know he went nuts against you guys, but like make him make decisions and get in the lane against a bunch of bigs and do some stuff down there opposed to let Fielder go off. But go ahead, Eric.
No, yeah. Well, you were talking about who is going to guard Fielder, and I think it's going to have to be Bouillon, and he's just going to have to stretch the defense a little bit. I think he's going to have to get some help from the wings, like guys like Antonio Chol, and not have everyone scramble when they're playing so much drop coverage like Nick was just describing. But Bouillon's got a little bit more of like the elusive feel to his game. He's a little bit more athletic. Rock is going to be kind of hunker down by the rim and be more of a rim protector. He just doesn't have the footwork or the speed laterally to guard someone in space like that. Bouillon's a little bit more athletic, but they're going to have to tender their bench. And I think guys like Antonio Chol are going to help on the defensive side a little bit more when they do run those pick and roll plays. It's those crafty guards that are really hurtful to them when they do run that pick and play, like the pick and roll. So Bouillon's probably more fit to guard a player like Fielder if that matchup does happen, which I kind of would anticipate to happen.
Mike, I'm curious, maybe this is how we close it out. We can consider that your guys' kind of key to the game from the Lobos side, but from your end, Mike, what would be your one key to the game if you had to pick one for you guys tomorrow? It's crazy tomorrow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the first game tomorrow at noon. Kamani Hamilton not being in foul trouble. I think that's the number one key for UNLV if they want to make a run at all in this tournament. I did pull it up because we were talking about it. In games, Kamani Hamilton has 3 or less fouls. He averages 16 points on 52% shooting and 40% shooting from 3. On games, he has 4 or more fouls. He averages 9 points on 43% shooting and 33% from 3. So if he can stay out of foul trouble, that gives you another piece. I've seen the Tyron Jones, and Tyron Jones is a big, going to be big as well. But I think for UNLV to win, you can't put everything on Dre Gibbs Lawhorn's shoulders. You need him to play his game and not force and not be, he needs to be mentally locked in and not let all this talk about what happened, what the voting was, what all of this is done. They need to be focused and ready to go. If not, it's going to be another showing of what happened when they played Wyoming the first time. Granted, I think it's a completely different team. Half the team was sick the first time. They didn't have enough guys to practice, to even 5-on-5 scrimmage before they played Wyoming the first time, then going into altitude. So we'll see. But I think that, if I had 2 keys to the game, it's keep Kamani Hamilton out of foul trouble, and they got to defend. I think I'm not asking, you're not asking him to hold them under. You got to hold the team under 80. That's it. I mean, they've won majority of their games holding teams under 75. I did a split. If you ever look at UNLV splits and wins and losses, they're absolutely insane. And if I still have a third one because I wrote it earlier. My third key was they got to get off to a fast start because Brandon, you guys have seen this. The Boise game, the Utah State the first time, the GCU game.
Oh yeah, the one in Phoenix was bad. That was very bad.
You got to get off.
And I think like 19-4 or something like that. Yeah.
I thought at one point DGL was going to lead them back to win that game. They ran out of gas, but that's the thing. They can't dig themselves in the hole. And I think that we talked about the coaching. The Pastor's done this before. He's taken a lower seed in one tournament. So I think if I had confidence in a coach, I would feel confident if I had Pastner as my coach. As much as he's been over animated the last couple games, it's been pretty funny to watch.
He's great. I love Pastner, man. It was cool just seeing him at GCU Arena. Very surreal. Guys, I'll leave you with one. My key to the game. I put this out. We're going to assume Nevada beats Air Force, but my key to the game is like physicality without fouling. Nevada in that first game, they shot 1 million free throws against GCU. That was a bad game. It was an ugly game. Nevada 4th in the country, actually, at getting to the line compared to like free throws attempted versus field goals attempted. So they get there a ton. That's how they kind of make their money. They get to the line. They're good at it. They do foul a ton on their end, but if GCU, I've said this before, the way they play defense, they're just going to be physical. They're going to put the refs in a tough spot. They're going to make them make calls. I said this on last night's show, and it's tough if you're a San Diego State fan or some of those calls. It's been tough. But they're going to put pressure on the refs to call those fouls out on the perimeter, and they're going to be physical. If they can do that without fouling, with whatever the parameters are with the refs, I think they can win that game and keep Nevada off the line, make Nevada score. They're really bad shooting inside the arc. They're not good inside the arc. They're efficient from three. They don't take a lot. But if you can just not give them the cheap, easy ones and slow down the game and let them get their defense set after free throws, I think GCU, I think it's a great matchup. It is tough. You go through it, that Nevada team, it's like, oh, man, they do got guys in the backcourt that can kind of go off. But I like the matchup a lot, and I think it's a good, healthy Lopes win. Oh, there's our guy Krager's chiming in there with the shirt. We'll see for next year. We will be we'll see what we can do to get those shirts for sale next year. But guys, that's all I got. I don't know if you guys have any more questions or anything else you wanna talk about before we close up shop here.
No, man, this was fun. Looking forward to.
You want to do any game picks for tomorrow?
Ooh, can run through that really quick.
Let's do it.
Mike, you're taking Wyoming?
Yep.
Don't jinx them. Take Wyoming.
I think.
Yeah, Mike, go through all four real quick.
UNLV. I think UNLV wins tomorrow. I think it's a lot tighter. I think UNLV by 3. I think. Take Reno against Air Force. Do I got to stick with my chaos pick? I'll stick with my chaos pick, and I'll take Fresno. I'm sticking with my guns, and then Boise State against San Jose.
Guys, I'll go because mine's gonna be easy. I'm going chalk tomorrow. I know it's annoying, but the more I look at it, I'm like, I'll take UNLV, I'll take Nevada, I'll take Colorado State, and I'll just take Boise. That's what I think happens tomorrow. So nothing. I think the chaos waits until Thursday. I don't think we get anything super chaotic tomorrow.
I got to be honest, Brennan. I know this is kind of boring, but I feel the same way. Chalky. Yeah. I don't see any upsets tomorrow. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe Fresno State, Colorado State, but I can't see it.
If I had to pick one chaotic game that might, if UNLV. Sorry, Mike. They are susceptible to kind of falling flat on their face, and if that happens, Wyoming's not a popular pick, but they're gritty, man, and they play hard. Sundance Wicks is going to have those guys amped up, and they've played in a lot of close games this season. So if I have to pick one crazy game, or maybe UNLV or Wyoming finds a way to beat UNLV, don't anticipate it, but it might be interesting.
So you guys want to know a fun fact about the history about UNLV since they made the tournament in 2013?
Oh yeah, give us that, because I always mess it up. You told me it, and I always mess it up.
So since 2014, that was the last time UNLV made the semifinals of the Mountain West tournament. That was when they played San Diego State, and Dave Rice was the coach. They've gotten out of the first round 10 times. All 10 wins are against Air Force. They have not beaten a team that's not Air Force. So
that sounds like a curse.
I don't know if it's the curse of Dave Rice that people say it is, but they haven't gotten out. They've in the 12 years. This will be year 12. They've beaten Air Force 10 times. The other one game that they played in that first round game, they lost to Wyoming. They lost to Wyoming in 2021. They also lost to San Jose a couple years ago as well in this other game. But that first round, if they don't play anybody but Air Force, they haven't been able to beat anybody but Air Force. So we'll see. They could, like Eric said, they could. I would not be surprised if they fall on their face tomorrow and lose, because it goes with the trend of what the program has been.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be a special day tomorrow. I'm excited for this. We kind of wait all year. All sorts of other good basketball going on too. So, guys, this was fun. Eric and Nick, thanks for hosting. I don't know if you guys have any other comments to close us out, but this was fun. Thanks for kind of playing the game and playing along. I really appreciate it. This was a great time.
I mean, this is just the first of many. I think we'll link up a couple times over the next couple days. All of us are going to have a bunch of written material, so we'll share just about everything coverage. We plan on watching all the games too when we're there. Show up Thursday morning, so it's not just coverage for UNM, but we want to cover the whole conference tournament and jump on and do live reactions as they kind of happen. So more to come on that, and looking forward to hanging out with you guys too and having a few beers.
Awesome. Sweet.
Yeah,
awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for tuning in. We had just about 250 live viewers. We'll get this up on our YouTube channel too. So, man, exciting time, but appreciate everyone tuning in. Everyone have a nice night. Thanks for watching the live stream. Talk soon.